Hi there, welcome to Cardano Wyckoff Technical Analysis session. If you're new to my sessions, here are the three key takeaways you can expect from my sessions. So let's start with the weekly chart of Cardano. Here currently, we're seeing a red candle coming down, and previously what we were asking was, is that another LPSY before the sign of weakness, and where the sign of weakness is going to end? Is it going to end somewhere at around the white solid line level? That's where the January sign of weakness was. Or is it going to finish somewhere near where the April and July sign of weaknesses were? As of now, the price has come down to the level during April and July. So that's probably at least where the sign of weakness will be if the price really rebound from this level. If not, if it goes straight into accumulation, then this is pretty much non-existent, so we can delete that. So as of now, this question mark represents something different. Previously, we were asking what level it's going to end up at, but at this moment, the question mark means something else. Are we going to have this at all, or is the price going to go down straight through the preliminary support and to the buying or to the selling climax? So let's draw this tag over here. Last time the selling climax back in 2022 June was landing somewhere around this center line of the long-term playground zone. So this dashed line over here. All right, so that's a level at around 42 cents. Not that that's the lowest point, because subsequent tests get to a point where it was only around 24 cents. Okay, the lowest point was the spring, where it got to around 22 cents. That was 2022-23. And now the price of Cardano is re-entering very close to the beginning of the accumulation back in 2022 May. Alright, but however, look at this over here that I touched on. The last sign of weakness. Let me change the color of the line. So the last sign of weakness back in June is at a price level similar to where we are now. So there is still a chance for the price to rebound and trade a little bit longer above the long-term playground zone before fully re-enter. So there are different possibilities. Let's remove this one. This LPSY has been confirmed. So there's a little peak over here. If I show it in the line chart, you see the peak. So here, what I'm saying is this potentially wouldn't be an upthrust at the moment unless there's some crazy news coming out, like I don't know, if you say it's because of regulatory changes that's going to help the crypto industry even further, or Cardano has something great coming out that's going to push the price through all these key levels, red, orange, yellow, all the way to the green. So we may see a second test if that's the case. Alright? So, however, if there's none, that's why I'm adjusting all these percentages now. If you have been following other YouTubers or like news outlets, maybe Decrypt or Cointelegraph, all that, if you think all the good news has already come out and no more good news are in the near term, then this trend is going to probably continue, right? If that's the case, then it continues to come down to the accumulations cycle area, and this white dashed line is probably where the accumulation is going to happen if this ends up dropping further. Okay, since we're below all these key levels, even the ceiling of the long-term playground zone at around 64 cents. Hi JWP. Oh yeah, it's getting crazier. That's why in a lot of sessions I mentioned it the bigger swings are coming. So it's an across the board thing. So people, I mean, a lot of people, even the big guys, are reallocating their portfolio. So here, going back to the key levels, what I'm trying to do now is to bring down some of this, copy some of these levels, and bring them to where the current price levels is around. Alright, so just drag them down so we have better references, since we are playing at a different field at the moment. Okay, so it talked about the current level. This yellow dashed line, I can replace this with the purple. So you see there are multiple reference points for this line, including the previous sign of weaknesses, a couple of candlesticks around the last point of support period, and also this automatic rally preliminary support area. So it's one key level below the solid line, white line over here, the ceiling of the long-term playground zone. The price is 0.538. Let's make it simple. Let's try 5.4 and see how high it goes. Yeah, that works. Then that's 0.54, one line. And then what's the next support line, right? After this purple, since the price is coming down, the next would be this white dashed line. So you see the selling climax back in June 2022, and then a second test, plus these bunch of candlesticks when the price came down from the sign of strength before it shoots up to the next selling climax, buying climax, the new distribution cycle back in November 2024. So this line over here at around 42 cents, and after that will be this level. This, you see where the horizontal period of the backup or last point of support is, right? They've all found support around this level. Likewise for this dip over there, plus this second test. So you can go all the way back in like as early as 2021. This level is around 0.33. Hey JWP, your question, that's not something I can answer because I'm not a financial advisor. So, and also you have to understand your risk appetite. Everybody is different, right? When you go to a financial advisor, they have to fully understand your financial situation, how much risk you can take before they can give you an advice that suits your situation, right? Some people, they have a lot of capital, and they only allocate a few percent to invest in riskier assets, and they don't mind losing all of those. But some people, it's not the disposable income that they can like invest. So it seems like a simple question, but there are a lot of thinking that has to be put behind it, you know, when you ask for an advice like this. So now we have all the key levels. The one right over there where the October 10th event kind of reached very close to that point, the 0.24. You see this long wick over there. Was that an early indication that if the price really comes down to the accumulation cycle, it can go back to this 0.24 light blue key level? That's where the most of the low points were back in 2022-23 accumulation cycle. Okay, so this, the selling climax, while it may land somewhere around the dash line, the white dash line, and the blue key level, beware of the possibility of deeper tests that gets to the 0.24 level. Okay, if things get really bad in history for Cardano, it can go lower than the light blue level. So that's the big picture. And let's quickly check the Bollinger Band Corner squeeze. So the squeeze previously going on during early October till late October. Now the swing basically started. So the purple line start to deviate from the orange. But it may not be the biggest magnitude that we are seeing. So expect more to come. And while we are on this indicator, let's move to the daily as well. Daily, there was 5 to 6 days of squeeze, even though the indicator wasn't showing it. But the purple lines, one is within the orange, the other was basically touching the orange. So that's a squeeze to me, at least. So what happens next, if you have been following, you know bigger price swings would come. Whether it's going to the downside first and then up, or it's going to upside first and then down. From what we're seeing over here, it seems that we're getting towards the downside first, but we need a few more days to know what's exactly it's going to happen. And let's go back to the Wyckoff tax. So we ask about this and whether that's an LPSY and that we are going through or not yet going through the PS period. Which seems we are getting some answers. So we touched on last time that the price got close to this triangle and the breakout is going to happen before this particular date, November the 2nd. And indeed it happened on the 30th towards the downside, and now even getting lower than the purple key level that we have just drawn. So potentially bypassing this triangle where it points to November 12th. So if that happens, if it comes further down, the next potential time point for breakout of this downward channel, this blue box over here, may be at this intermediate level. So we have drawn a key level in the weekly chart. There is one intermediate level, so I'll change it to a dashed line. That's somewhere around 41 cents 50. So you see in the daily chart there were some peaks over there previously, and also some area that found support at this level. So when the price continued to come down to this level along this downward channel, if it doesn't break out, so we talk about this point, there's another point over here pointing towards November 15th. That's where the selling climax back in June was. Also the second test back in April. So the same year, we have gone through these two tests already. There was one way back in February as well. So 3 times, and this is the 4th time we are entering this price level. If this downtrend continues, we'll be able to see where the selling climax is likely going to go. Previously I put in the second test tag because we were talking about or discussing about this, whether that was a selling climax or was it just the beginning of the preliminary support. So it looks like it is the preliminary support period instead of the selling climax around October 10th and 11th. So the day that the new tariff was announced, and the day afterwards. Okay, so that seems to me now it isn't the selling climax. So that's why we can probably remove some of these question marks. So this is LPSY, this is likely the PS period, and we are about to see where the selling climax is going to end up at. And the next stage will be the automatic rally. Alright, so the downtrend continues. The time points November 15th, and this one somewhere near November, end of November, if I extend this box further. So around November 25th, and eventually, if the trend is still intact, hasn't been broken after these time points, and the price still continue to come down, the third one would be the beginning of December. So there is an entire month with multiple breakout opportunities. It all depends on whether the big guys, the whales, or the composite man is going to push the price over there. And just quickly look at what's on the left hand side to show you what happened back in 2002, 2003, and 2004. So, and also why on October 10th the price poked all the way through to near where the light blue key level is. So it's still possible today, given all the information or different theories that you have heard, like lowering of interest rates would help, or ETFs would help. The price wouldn't go back to where they were. October 10th told us a lot. Casper. Oh, so Casper, I'm covering on Friday. So when we get to that, I'll take a look at what's happening, because I've just got too many charts to look at, so I won't be able to respond immediately. Okay, so that's pretty much it for Cardano for now. So the tendency is heading towards the accumulation cycle, but then we're still at a level where the rebound happened back in April and July. So it's still not zero chance for the price to bounce up, just that it has to really have some very good news for it to break above all these resistance level, when the downtrend is still happening. Okay, thanks for joining me, and one more question. Yeah, Lever Gallagher. So that's the thing I have said in other sessions. So people are selling the idea of, let me change it to this view, selling the idea of rate cuttings and all that would lead to the price rising. In some of the sessions I already mentioned, the institutions, the big guys, that's all in their plan already. They know that this is going to happen somewhere near the end of this year. And they know it not like 3 or 6 months ago. They know this when the rate was hiking. They have all the models, all the historical records. So they have all that in their plan. It's just the news that's coming out, telling us, the retail investors, that these are going to make the price boost up. That's probably, that's proven not the case now when the news, finally, or when the Fed finally cut rates. So be really careful how to process information and what's being sold to us. It's just not the case a lot of times. If you keep a record of what happened in the past, either Baxter said, things happen. So if we look at the history, not far ahead, we're just talking about 2002, 2003, where a lot of money has already been printed. So that period, accumulation still happened, and we did not have a very strong peak. But now, 2024-25, we are getting back to somewhere near 2022 summer, if you want to count that particular period where there's sufficient or significant trading going on. Alright? Yeah, it's sad, but markets go through cycles, and yeah, like going back to what Lever asked, there's no best months for any asset. I think I've made a video some time ago. You can check in the videos, not live sessions, that I compared, like, when people say is May, or sell in May and go away, or that kind of thing. There's a video in my channel. If you look at the history, just by looking at the monthly chart, or even like this, you can quickly tell whether those being claimed are true. Like if they say October or November is the best month, last year, where was it? September, October, yeah. 2024, a big white candle. But then 23, not really, right? Just a small candle at the accumulation. And then 2022, where was it? It's a red. It's coming down. And then 21 is dropping like hell back then. 20, November, it was the end of accumulation. So when people say something like best month for crypto or for gold, for whatever, just go to TradingView, switch to the monthly chart, and look at that particular candle of that month. Then you'll be able to tell a lot of the altcoins or whatever stocks is not that case. So when people give you a broad statement, be really careful whether to trust it or not, or how much you trust it. All right. There are a lot of comments. That's good. Let me take a look. Yeah, sorry. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I will just use the first three characters. Yeah. I'll keep those to that particular session because I have to dedicate time to a particular altcoin in one session. So what's your move so I can copy? Are you in the market now? Do you hold? Bro, thanks for teaching. I'm gonna have to look back at some of your videos. Well, you're welcome, man. So JWP, same thing. My risk appetite isn't the same as yours, so you can't copy me. And the timing I act, you're not following me 24/7. If I see something change and I, buy or sell, you won't be able to know. So try not to, you can copy my knowledge, learn that, and apply it to your own circumstances. Because nobody is able to copy another investor unless you're sleeping by his or her side. They are constantly processing information and news coming out, and they are calculating whether they're going to make a move. So it's not as easy to say as it is by like copying somebody, unless they stream 24/7 on YouTube and they tell you every single move they're doing. I know some people are doing this kind of videos, but that's, I don't know, like scalping or day trading. You may be able to follow those, but it's still a risky move because the risk they can take is not the same as yours, right? Okay, more coming in. Start a Discord. Yeah, there are a lot of things in the pipeline, but when the community gets more mature, I'll include more things. And right now, a very limited time, for asset tech. When time goes on, when the community grows, I'll be able to allocate more resources to this. And thanks for your suggestion. Hope is my last question. Great video. No, I'm not currently holding peak. Yeah, so I cover a lot of altcoins, and you understand I won't be able to hold every one of them. But if you are, if you see a particular project that you think has potential, follow closely on what they're doing, understand their tech. I also mentioned, I think in a recent video, not that it's for this topic, but I briefly touched on it. Altcoins in particular, in my view, they are like startup businesses. Okay, and if you have heard from other influencers or YouTube channels talking about entrepreneurship or businesses, a lot of new businesses or startup, maybe 70-80% of them, they fail within the first 2 years. Good thing about what we're seeing for some of the altcoins are they have lasted longer than that. But that doesn't mean along with time, they're going to persist. Go back to the .com period. Half or even more than half of them disappeared. And some of them last longer than 2 years. So be really, I don't know, what's the word for this? Don't treat it as like a currency or like gold or precious metal. These are businesses. We call them networks or projects, but they are actually businesses that needs community support, funding to continue to run, and adoption, most importantly. If nobody is going to buy in or uses them, other than the meme coins, then they're not going to survive, right? So if you want to be a diamond hand, be like an actual investor, like the traditional companies, like the shareholder. You go to shareholder meetings, you read their annual reports, you trace what the company is doing. Likewise for crypto, you track what they are doing. Are they delivering their milestones? What are they doing to their tech? Are they keeping up with the development of the industry? There are a lot of moving parts that you have to follow deeply. It's not like buying it and then let it rise or fall and just let it sit there. All right, so that's my view. It's a long answer to your question. It's not about price, but price is just a reflection of what the project has done and what the industry is, or where the industry is going. But underneath, there are a lot of things we have to look into. So very long session for Cardano. I'm going to move on to Polygon now.